All right, so we're interested in the second EMA crossover. Let's see, from 10 to 12 a.m. I'm assuming. Well, actually, that would be 12 p.m. I think. Anyways, okay, I'll just leave it 10 to 12 there. Okay, let's see. The easiest thing to do so far is let's just make our 20 EMA crossing the 50 EMA, like so. Alright, so we'll just grab a crossover solver like that. Let's connect it up. And let's name this here. So we got the EMA 20 crossing over the EMA 50. Alright, pretty simple stuff. So let's just put those indicators in there. Alright, there's our EMA. We'll change this to the 20. And input B down here, let's change that to our EMA 50. Alright. Change the period. And there we go. Let's take a look at the chart here. So, and there's a couple of crossovers. All right. And I probably, let's see, should switch this probably to a 1 minute chart so we get a lot more crossovers. All right, there's a couple of crossovers. And all right, let's open BloodHound back up. So there. All right, so that's the first one. Okay, now we're only interested in these crossovers between 10 and 12 in the morning. All right, so let's grab a time solver next. And we'll plug that in. All right, so now we're going to make ourselves a custom session template here. All right, so this is a NinjaTrader session that we're going to make. All right, so this is NinjaTrader's session manager. And let's see, I wonder if I already have one here. Probably not. And let's see, no, I do not. All right, so let's make a new one here. So I use an underscore because it puts it at the top of the list and just makes it easier for me to find my custom sessions here that I'm making. And all right, so there we go. A little 2-hour block in the morning. And next, let's add our session. Okay, so we want Monday to Monday. There we go. And there we go. Add Monday through Friday. All right. And let's see. I'll leave this on Eastern time. So most people are usually trading based on Eastern time, since that's where New York is. Hit save. And okay. All right. Now, let's go take a look at that on the chart here. There we go. So you can see, so when we have a long and a short output at the same time, that tells us that we are in session. Right? So in session is between 10 and 12. Right? So all these time blocks are between 10 and 12 Eastern time, right? Eastern time. So there's a 2-hour offset from my time zone, so it ends at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock there. So we scroll forward, and here we go. It starts at 8 o'clock my time zone, which is 10 o'clock Eastern time zone. All right. And we'll just scroll back and check the next day as well. There we go. There's the next day. And everything looks good. So when this time solver has an output, that's when we're looking for those crossovers, right? So let's see. Let's plug in this solver here so we can see we do have a crossover there. And I'm going to shrink this up a little bit, try and get more bars on this chart. And there's a couple more crossovers. However, you'll notice that, right, these crossovers are outside of our session here, outside of our 2-hour time block. So remember, it's 10 o'clock on my time zone. So these crossover signals will get eliminated once we join these two together. So let's do that. Next, we'll grab an AND node. Connect that up, and then as soon as we plug in our time solver, there we go. Those signals went away because they're outside of our 2-hour time window. And here's the one signal here, and left in the middle. So there we go. All right, so that would complete the first two parts there. Okay, so now here comes the trickier part. So we want to eliminate, let's see, where is that word? There we go. We want to eliminate the first crossover and only see the second crossover. So that's when we're going to need a signal counter. So that's what that guy's for. And let's see. I think the tricky part is going to be actually finding some signals. So just a moment while I scan through this chart here. And I'm going to see if I can find a spot that actually has two signals during that hour, that time block. Oh, great. We got lucky. Awesome. There we go. So we'll work on this day right here. And I'm gonna circle it here just so I don't lose it. And also, that's our 2-hour window, our 2-hour time block there as well. Great. So we want to basically skip or remove or block the first long signal and then only see the second signal there, right? So that's what this signal counter is going to be for. That's what we're going to do with that. And so let's move things around a little bit. All right, I'll plug that in there. Connect that guy in. And so next, let's go through the settings here. So, there's different things that we can count. So, right, if we want, we can just count straight bars. But typically, most people want to count signals. But if you need to, you can count non-signals. Basically, you would be counting the blank spaces in between signals. If you want to use non-signals, you would count the signals in between. let's just leave it on signals. Okay, so next, what are we counting up to? Well, we're counting up to 2 because we're interested in the second signal. Now the look back period, this one here is important, and you kind of have to do a little bit of guesswork here. Now, when you're counting signals, nobody starts from the beginning of the chart and just starts counting forward, right? So when you're counting signals, you have a limited look back period in which you want to look back to count signals, right? So when I'm looking, so when I'm counting signals, I don't want to keep looking back forever and just count signals forever, because I'm always going to end up counting 2 signals, right? So so you need to have set some kind of limit as to how many bars back can you look to find that second signal, or to find 2 signals, right? So since I'm using a minute chart, I know that my look back is limited, because since I have a 2-hour window on 1-minute bars, there's only 120 bars within this time window here. So that makes it kind of easy for me if I'm using a minute chart. If I'm using a range chart or a Renko chart, then you're going to have to kind of do some estimating to kind of figure out, how many, what's the most possible number of Renko bars, within this 2-hour window here, and just kind of go with that estimate. So since I know there's only 120 maximum, I will just set this like 125. I'll just go over just a tad bit like that, just to be safe. And let's see, the reset on, we'll get back to that. We will, let's see, actually, no, well, with the time-based bars, we won't need a reset, but all I'll do is I'll tweak my chart and put it to like a Renko chart or something like that. So that way we can use the reset here as well. Let's see, output style. Most people do not want to use the fuzzy logic part. So let's just put it on digital like that. And now what we have is our result. So there, so now after that second long signal, the signal counter is outputting, basically it's outputting a long signal saying, you know what, I've counted. I've been able to count 2 long signals. So the signal counter found 2 long signals within this 120 bar look back period. Okay. So let's take a look again at the original signals here. So let's mark them. There's a long signal, and there's a long signal. And I'll mark the short signal. And let's look at the signal counter again. Right, so there's our first long signal. And when we get to the second long signal, the signal counter, right, outputs, right, just outputs that, it outputs a long signal, and that's just stating that it's been able to find 2 long signals when it looks back 125 bars. Right, so basically from this bar way over here, this bar way over here, if we look back 125 bars, the signal counter has found 1, 2 signals when it looks back 125 bars. And so that's why we get this long, I was going to say long output, but that's why we get this, that's why we get so many of these long outputs here, the green outputs, we get so many because remember the signal counter is looking back 125 bars. So every bar we step forward, the signal counter looks back 125 bars. Right, it's looking back this 125 bars. So we get this long continuous stream of long outputs because it's always finding these two long signals here. So what we can do is, typically we're just going to want one single discrete buy signal here. So what we can do now is we can grab another AND node, and so remember if we look at this AND node, right, we have clear, distinct signals. So what we can do is we can plug that into an AND node, take this signal counter, combine that together like so. There we go. There's our single second signal there, right? So that's that part. Now, if we're using a minute or a time-based, basically if we're using a time-based bar, this becomes a lot simpler because we would know exactly how many bars to look back, within our 2-hour window if we're using a time-based chart. But let's kind of mix this up and make it a little more complex, and we'll use Renko bars, which are non-time based, and so therefore we really have no idea how many bars might be in that 2-hour window. So, all right. And let's see. Let's name this AND node here. All right. We'll just call this the raw signals, and this AND node here is the second signal. There we go. Yeah, so when you're building a system, it's always a good idea to name your AND nodes, so that way what is coming out of these various AND nodes. Just kind of really, it's good design building, so that way when you come back to it later, you can just read your AND node and it'll jog your memory as to what's coming out of these various logic nodes here. So, all right, so we kind of got that cleaned up a little bit. So now let's change this to a Renko chart here, and probably something that would be the most complicated would be, let's see, this is the ES chart. All right, we'll let that build, and while Ninja's building that, we'll take a drink of our coffee. ES data always takes the longest to build charts on, just because the ES data has the highest volume of all the instruments. The ES has about 10 times the volume of most of the traded instruments on the market. So it always takes longer to build Renko bars and range bars on the ES than any other chart. All right, and next, let's go back and find that rectangle I drew. There we go. This is why I drew that rectangle, because it makes it easier to find our spot again. And now we have no signals, so we might have to find another spot. Let's see. Let me pull up BloodHound here, and let's take a look at the raw signals there. Let's pull the chart back over. And, oh yeah, so, right, so our crossover is now over here. It's outside of our little 2-hour time block. So, let's see if I can find another day that, actually, let's see, let me just connect this up correctly there. And I'm just going to scan through the chart, see if I can find, great. We lucked out again. Here we go. It's another couple of days, or some more signals on another day, different day. And I'm going to draw another rectangle here. There we go. And got to find that 10 o'clock bar. There we go. Oop. Roughly right there. Okay, so there's our 2-hour window. And so there. Actually, I'm going to close this up first. Let's see. Okay, so I just kind of renamed my logic template here, right? So this is set up great for like a 1-minute chart. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this, and we'll call this a Renko. Actually, I'll call it the backtest Renko, since that's what I'm using here. And all right, so I've got 2 different logic templates here, and I've done that just so I can set this signal counter up differently. So, so here we are using a non-time based chart, and we need to estimate kind of how many bars could there be within this 2-hour window, right? So I've got my 2-hour window here, and I need to estimate how many bars could there be. And, on this particular day, it doesn't look like I have too many. Let's see. Alright, so if I count correctly, that is about 10 bars. And so I'm going to guess that it's probably less than 200 bars. But that's only for this particular day. So you need to take a kind of a good sample size, of several days to kind of figure out, how many possible bars could there be in there. So this is less than 200, and just for the sake of time, I'm gonna just kind of guesstimate, and I'll just leave this at no, I'll go 250. I'll go over a little bit there. So I'm just gonna guesstimate based on this one day, but really you should take a sample size of many days and just kind of figure out how many possible bars could there be within this 2-hour time block here, and whatever the maximum number of bars there are within this 2-hour time block, the maximum number of bars is what you want to put in your look back period, right? Now you don't want to just get lazy and just say, well, I'll just go with 1,000. So, because the higher this number, the more work the signal counter has to do, right? You're basically, using more CPU time, the bigger this look back period is. So you could be unnecessarily causing NinjaTrader to have to do more calculations that aren't needed, right? And since NinjaTrader is a single-threaded program, you don't want to overload NinjaTrader with unnecessary work. So you want to keep your look-back period as low as possible, right? But high enough so that the signal counter works, is doing its job correctly. So I don't recommend just throwing in 1,000 unless you really need to look back 1,000 bars. So I'm gonna just throw in 250 and call it good for now. And let's see here. And before I get too far ahead of myself, let me mark the signals. All right. Okay, so we get two longs and 2 shorts within our 2-hour time block here. Like so. And yeah, and there's the second, and yeah, the second signals there for both a long and a short. So actually that pretty much does it. I actually was thinking I was going to need to use the reset, but I really don't. But just for the sake of showing you how to use the reset signal here, I'll just go ahead and do that anyways. So what we're talking about, let's zoom in here. So if we zoom in, you'll notice how there's a input connector and there's a reset connector. All right, so we can turn, so this reset connector is a way of kind of turning the signal counter off, or basically resetting the signal counter. And let's take a look at what we're doing here. So let's look at the reset signal, and so you notice how the reset counter has this output here, right? Got this really long output. Let's say we needed to turn this output off. Say once we got to the end of our 12 o'clock time here, right here around 12 o'clock or 10 o'clock my time, let's say for some reason, if we had something a little more complex here, we might need to turn the signal counter off once we get to the end here. And that's what that reset connection is for. So what we could do is we can take the time solver, oops, right, so we're looking at the time solver now. And you see how the time solver ends exactly right there. And so we could use that end time to actually reset the signal counter. So what we would need to do is, let's see here. Yeah. All right, so we're going to take the time solver, connect it into the reset. And next we need to figure out which of these reset functions do we need to use. Which of these should we be using here? So let's take a look at what we're seeing on the chart. So remember, we're looking at the time solver. So I've got the time solver connected to the result node, and the time solver is also connected to the signal counter's reset to that reset there. So what we see on the chart is the data that's going into the reset connection here. So let's zoom in here a little bit. All right, so the data that's going into the reset is also what we're seeing on the chart. So what we want to do is when the time solver's output turns off, so there's no output here from the time solver, and there's no output, so we can use this no output, this no signal area, right? So there's no signal here when our time block ends, so we can use this no signal to reset our signal counter. So now let's take a look at the signal counter here. Let's take a look at that. And let me adjust the chart. And I'm going to turn, okay, so I've got all the resets are turned off, right? They're all set to false here. So we're talking about all of these resets in here. Right, they're all set to false. And so what I want is when there is no signal into this reset. So I'm going to find the reset, and there we go. There's the one that says reset. So you see how it says reset, no signal. So I'm going to set that to true. And so now you see, so there we go. That is what's coming out of our signal counter. So the signal counter turns on when it found our second crossover signal, right? The long's turned on, and then when our time block, our 2-hour time window, when it ends, the signal counter turns off and it gets reset. And it's reset because we're using the reset no signal. Right? So the reset is the reset connection, the reset right little connector point, and then what we're looking for is no signal. So let's pay attention. I'm going to change my little arrow right there. So if we take a look at our time solver again, I'm going to connect that to the result. And so remember, so right there where the little arrow is, our time solver turns off, right? And there's no signal. There's no signal coming from the time solver anymore. And so that no signal, so we have no signal going into the reset. And so this reset no signal, we turn that on, and that is what turned our signal counter off. There we go. So let's see, if I turn this back to false, right, the signal counter just stays on. Right, the signal counter is going to stay on for 250 bars here. But if I use the reset, then our signal counter turns off. So, yep, there we go. So, I mean, this really wasn't necessary. This wasn't necessary only because we're only dealing with a 2-hour window. Maybe if this window was longer, we might need to reset the signal counter. But this, yeah, so resetting the signal counter wasn't technically needed for such a simple system, but quite often resetting the signal counter is needed, and so that's just kind of an example of one way how we can reset that signal counter. And anyways, let's connect that back up like so. All right. So that does it for that question. That one is done. Let's see. Let's pull up the rules here again, and we'll just double check. Where are they? There we go. And okay, yeah. That was that. So Milburn was asking. He wants to know in Raven how to enter a trade one tick above or one tick below the close of the current bar. So yeah. So actually, just to clarify, guys, BloodHound doesn't enter a trade. So that's kind of technically speaking here. BloodHound is an indicator, right? If we go into our indicators list, right, BloodHound's an indicator. Indicators cannot place trades, right? And that's universal across all charting platforms. So indicators cannot place a trade. Only strategies can place trades. So what we need to do is go into our strategies window and pull up Raven. So we're going to add Raven there. And just looking at, so we're looking at the Raven settings here. And so Milburn, what you want to do is you want to use a limit order. So we need to turn limit orders on. And now you have this limit offset from entry price, from entry. And there's different ways that you have ticks or points or ATRs and Renko bricks. Well, this is most people always associate with ticks. So if you put in there -1 tick, basically a -1 tick means you're gonna get price is gonna have to pull back to fill you, right? So if it's a long trade, then your limit order is here. Let's see. Let's pull up a chart here. Let's close this out and let me go back. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to a minute chart. And stretch this way out. All right, so let's say we get a long signal here. So if we had a long signal on this bar, and well, actually, let's see if I can find some actual signals. All right, I'm just gonna find some signals on the chart here. Just makes things visually a little better. There we go. All right, so we have a long signal here, and let's mark this, right? So there's the closing price of that bar. All right, so if we're placing a long trade, and if Raven, let's pull this back up here. All right, let's go back into the strategy. It's too bad I can't leave the strategy window open and work on the chart at the same time, but can't do that. So I'm going to have to keep going back and forth. Alright, so we got our limit orders turned on. So if we use this limit offset, if we use a negative 1 tick, then if this is a long trade, then what that's going to do is it's going to place our limit order 1 tick below the closing price of the bar. So this offset, so this 1 tick offset is always based from the close of the signal bar. It's always based on the close price of the signal bar. Right. So a negative one tick for a long trade is going to place the limit order at basically a better fill, right? So it's going to be 1 tick down. So it would be negative 1 ticks down for a better fill. Now, if we did a positive 1 tick, right, then the limit order would get tossed up here for a long trade, right? Now, if this was a short trade, and let's see if I can find a short trade. Ah, yes. There we go. Here's that spot that had a long and a short trade. All right, so here we go. Here's a short signal, and there's our closing price of the bar. And so a negative 1 tick would throw, let's see, where is the tick side? Okay, there we go. So a negative 1 tick, and, just a moment here. Ninja's not letting me draw that arrow where I want to draw it. And snap mode turned off. Huh. Alright, well, basically, there. So for a short trade, if we're using negative 1 ticks, right, you're going to get basically a limit order at a better fill. So price is going to have to pull up to this limit order. So a negative 1 tick for a short trade is going to be 1 tick higher than the close of the bar. And if we did a positive 1 tick on that limit order, then the limit order would be down. It'd be down here, down below. So all right, let's get back in here. Okay, so this limit offset. So basically, a negative value means that price has to pull back to fill that limit order, right? So, you know, regardless of it being a long trade or a short trade, right? So if it's a long trade, your limit order is going to be down a couple of ticks. If it is a short trade like this, then your limit order gets placed up a couple of ticks, right? So this negative value just means you get a better fill. Right? A positive value means you get a worse fill, right? So this negative value is automatically adjusted depending if it's a long trade or a short trade for you. Right? All right, so Milburn, hopefully that does it for you. Also, let's see. Also, just to note here Yeah, I'm going to turn the strategy on just to show you. So if we turn the strategy on, you notice here in the chart, on the chart trader here, there's a little help link. So you can click on that, and that'll bring up the documentation for Raven. So here we go. The documentation. And so we can scroll down here and go through the parameters, and we want, there we go, entry order options, and there's use limit orders, and there we go, limit offset from entry. And so there's an explanation, a written explanation of that for you. Okay, so I think that should do it for Milburn. And let's see. Yeah, also Milburn, you had mentioned a video. So once again, on the same Raven page here, if you keep scrolling down, there is a video. So here you go. This video covers everything on Raven. So there you go. I would highly recommend watching that video. It'll show you all the ins and outs of Raven there and give you a good understanding of how exactly all the things that you can do with Raven. So, all right, we got Kyle next. Let's see. Yes, so Kyle is asking, can you get a signal on one chart that comes from another chart? And yes, you can. Let's see. So Kyle, would they be different instruments, or are we just talking different time frames? Oh, I see. Yep. Yes, you can. However, you do need to understand NinjaTrader's limitations when you do this. So just so you have an understanding of Ninja's limitations, and also understand that NinjaTrader has a bug when you're mixing and matching different time frames and instruments. There is a bug in Ninja 7 that NinjaTrader said they will not fix, and supposedly they have it fixed in 8, but just so you're aware of it, you know, so that, you know, it's not, you know, Ninja doesn't always provide the correct data to BloodHound, so there is some, you know, just so that you're aware of that. But let me show you a video that you really need to watch so that you understand what you're dealing with when you're mixing and matching time frames. And also, it also would apply mixing and matching instruments as well. So let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, here we go, the training workshops. Let's open that in a new tab here. All right, so from the training workshops, let's see, I'm gonna search YouTube here. And what we want to find is syncing time frames. And here we go. The first one. Yep, synchronizing higher time frame Ranko charts. And let's see, let's turn that video off. Yeah, this is the one that you want to deal with. So whenever you're dealing with different time frames, so I just happen to use Ranko charts because Rankos are very common and a great example of you know, bars that never synchronize when you're dealing with multiple time frames. So yeah, I'd watch this video so that you understand the limitations of NinjaTrader, the ins and outs of NinjaTrader, and how NinjaTrader provides data when you're dealing with multiple time frames. Right? So understand that. Definitely watch that video right there. But the way you would do it, I can show you how you do it. And let's see, let's pull Raven off here. All right, there's a couple of ways we can do this. Let's pull up BloodHound. Now, hopefully you guys know that BloodHound does deal with multiple time frames. So if you want to add a different time frame or a different instrument, you just hit the chart button. And let's see, what am I on? I am on a 1 minute ES chart. So let's say I wanted to also take a look at the 1 minute YM chart. So if I click on the 1 minute chart here, what comes up is instrument. And from instrument, right, so there you go. You can use the tick symbol if that's what you're looking for. I don't have that data, so I'm gonna go with let's just say the YM, and it looks like I need to roll my instruments over first. So just a moment. Let me do some instrument maintenance. All right, here's a quick little tip, guys. When it's rollover time, what you can do is select the old contract, hit the remove button, and then hit the add button, and presto, the current contract shows up there. Let's remove the old, add the new. Let's get rid of that old one. Let's see, let's update gold here. Let's see, I don't have FDAX data anymore, so let's just get rid of that. All right, let's update the ES instrument and oil. So there we go, latest contract for oil. And let's update the 6E. All right, yeah, let's update the bonds. There we go. All right, easy work updating those instruments. So, okay, going back to BloodHound here and our chart. And so now I can go and add the YM on there. And so now you can work on the YM 1 minute chart. And you can put any solvers on that YM 1 minute chart here. So let's see. How about if we add a crossover solver and all right, so there's a crossover on the YM chart. So let's see. And I can just put YM. There you go, YM 1 minute. Like that. Name my solver, and then let's go make a new logic template here. There we go. Throw some kind of name in there. And let's go grab that solver. So look, under existing nodes here, you notice I have default time frame, and then I also have the YM 1 minute chart as well. So there's that solver. Grab that and take a look. And there we we go. So there, oh, I need to refresh my chart. And there we go. So there's some crossover signals from the YM 1 minute chart. Just like that. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, here's another option that you can do as well. Let's see, I'm trying to think of an example here. Yeah. All right, I'll do it this way. Actually, I'm going to go back into this. So I'm going to grab another crossover solver here, a new one. Here. And so another way that you can grab other instrument data is you can use Chameleon. That's kind of the reason why we named it Chameleon, is because this guy, this Chameleon, can grab data from anywhere. So Chameleon was kind of our first solution at grabbing data from other time frames and other instruments. However, remember that NinjaTrader bug I mentioned earlier? Well, using Chameleon, actually, this is also a part of that. A part of that NinjaTrader bug also affects Chameleon as well. So when Chameleon is using a different instrument, so like this, right? So I can take use alternate instrument, set that to true, and then you see this section here opens up, right? This is a new section here that opens up. So if I turn it off, right, that section is invisible, goes away. Turn that to true, and it comes on, and then I can go here, grab the YM, and I have it set to a 1 minute chart. So the YM set to one minute chart, and then I can grab all this price data from that chart. Right, so I can get the closing price from the YM chart, or I can get the median price from the YM 1 minute chart. You know, whatever price I need, that's what I can get right from down here. So I can grab the typical price if I want to. And so let's just say I grab the typical price, and it's going to be coming from the YM and a 1 minute chart. And I can click OK. And so there we go. We got Chameleon. And if I stretch this way out, so there we go, Chameleon, and it's set to the YM chart and a 1 minute time-based chart. So, but just remember that there is that NinjaTrader bug, and it seems to be really, that bug is worse than, you know, that multi-time frame and multi-instrument bug in NinjaTrader. It comes up more often when you're doing it through an indicator. So in other words, since Chameleon is an indicator trying to grab this other time frame data, it actually, that's when that NinjaTrader bug comes up more often. It's better to do it this way. This adding the time frame into BloodHound itself is far, far, far more reliable. So versus using Chameleon. So, and hopefully in NinjaTrader 8 they completely resolve that issue. So basically what the issue is with NinjaTrader is just that sometimes the data is just isn't there. The data is just missing. You know, I think it's basically a synchronizing issue that NinjaTrader hasn't quite worked out consistently. You know, because sometimes the ES data comes in first and the YM data isn't quite ready, and so when BloodHound is saying, or so when Chameleon is asking NinjaTrader, give me the YM data, it's not quite ready yet. You know, and so I don't know exactly what happens, but things kind of stall, and the data is just missing. You know, and basically Chameleon and BloodHound still have to go do its thing, and so on this ES chart, there's just internally there's no YM data ready, so you just get this absence of data. So, but anyways, those are the two ways of doing it. So this is the recommended way of putting a solver, you know, of putting the solver on the instrument and time frame that you want to deal with. So, all right. And let's see. Okay, so it looks like Kyle has some other comments in here. And Kyle's just making a comment here. Yeah, it would be nice if NinjaTrader 8 does make the instrument rollover a little more automatic, which I think they have. I think I did just read something recently that the instrument rollovers are automatic now, or semi-automatic or something like that. So yeah, it's a nice little feature. All right, so here's another question from Kyle. Is there a way to get BloodHound to further identify signals coming from the other charts? Example, maybe a written note on the chart to distinguish it from signals coming from the first chart. No. BloodHound is just designed to give you clear, simple, you know, buy and sell signals. So if you build a BloodHound template, you know, that has multiple trading signals in it, yeah, you're not going to know which trading signal it came from. Yeah, so if you're looking for, you know, trade signals from the YM and also trade signals from the ES, yeah, you're not going to know which one they came from. So, but what you can do, you know, what you can do is, let's see, I have, yeah, I have multiple logic templates in here. So let's close this BloodHound out. Let's close this out and save it. And let's put this on. There we go. Let's put this on that. There. Okay. So we have our first system from this morning, right? Our EMA crossover within our 2-hour time window here, right? And we got nice simple green and red buy and sell signals. So what we can do is we can add a second BloodHound to the chart, right? BloodHound's just an indicator. So NinjaTrader allows you to add as many indicators as you want to your chart, you know, before your computer blows up. So what we can do is we can stick BloodHound on here, and I can go in and I can change the colors on the second BloodHound. So let's do an orange, and let's see, that is lime. There. All right, so I'm going to do blue and orange for the second BloodHound. And let's load up today's system here. So there we go. And let's put this one on the YM signals. So there we go. So we got the YM signals set to orange and blue. And let's put this BloodHound let's see, where is it? There we go, panel. And so we can put both bloodhounds on the same panel. So I'll put this bloodhound on panel 2. And this other bloodhound, it also is on panel 2. So there we go. Both bloodhounds are on panel 2. Let's click OK. And there we go. And I'm trying to see. So let's see what happened to the other bloodhound. What did I do? Let's see. Well, so you can see the blue and orange signals on here, and I must have done something by accident to the first bloodhound. What happened here? Let's see. I did something here. I'm not noticing what I did to the first bloodhound. Let's see. Yeah, that's kind of strange. Let's put the second bloodhound on a new panel. See what happens. There we go. There's one. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to the other day. They had 2. Okay, great. There we go. There's our, yeah, there's our long and shorts. And let's put it back on that. Oh, okay. I guess there just weren't any signals for some reason. Okay, in any case. So I guess there was nothing wrong. There just weren't any signals on that one logic template there. Okay, so let's stretch this out. And so, now, unfortunately, NinjaTrader only allows one indicator on the chart to paint or shade the whole chart. So you can see the racing stripes. NinjaTrader is only going to allow one bloodhound to show its racing stripes across the whole chart. So you can see that the racing stripe does exist in this subpanel, but NinjaTrader is not going to allow the bloodhound from the orange racing stripes to also put racing stripes on the price panel. You can see only one of the bloodhounds is allowed to do that, and that's just a NinjaTrader restriction on that part. So, but you know, that is one way you can do it. So you can kind of color code your signals like that, you know, if you like. So that's one option. Oh, okay. So Gary has a unique indicator that I guess it just puts text text on, I'm not sure, text on the chart, or is it just text on the market analyzer? Let's see. Well, I guess the question is, Gary, is it a indicator or is it? Oh, okay. So text on the chart, yeah, or data to the market analyzer. Right. Yeah. So Gary, here you go. This is what you want to do. It is quite possible. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. I think I just did this last workshop. Let's pull this up. Oil. And guess it wasn't last workshop. It must have been a previous one, but yeah, let me show you a quick example here, Gary, of what you can, how you can test your custom little indicator there. Let's open this up and hit new, and right, so you guys know that NinjaTrader has a candlestick pattern indicator, right? So let's put that on here. Let's get that indicator on the chart. And all right, we'll just use a morning star. And hopefully I can find a morning. Hey, wow, great. We got one right away. Good deal. Okay, so there's our morning star from Ninja's indicator. And that indicator does have an output. So hopefully, Gary, your indicator will have an output as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a threshold solver. All right, grabbing a threshold solver. And let's go put the candlestick pattern indicator in there. There we go. Candlestick pattern. All right, I'll leave it on Morningstar. And so you see how this has a plot for found, pattern found, right? It has a plot there. And this plot, this plot is not seen on the chart. We don't actually see that plot on the chart. But this plot has either a positive 1 value for basically for a long candlestick pattern, or this plot has a negative 1 value for a sell pattern. So maybe, hopefully, Gary, your indicator has something like this. It might be a data series instead of a plot. It could be a data series, or it could be a bull series. But hopefully, you got something here that says like, pattern found or signal. Maybe it'll say signal, long signal, short signal. Hopefully you got something in here. You can click OK. And then for the outputs, typically you want to do this for the outputs. All right, so for the long, you want greater than A, and for the shorts, you want less than E for your outputs. And there we go. So this was a long pattern that was found. So it gave us that long signal, and possibly there might be a short signal on this chart somewhere. I'm going to scan through this chart real fast. Nope, a couple of long signals, long patterns again. Another long. Maybe morning stars are only a long pattern. I forgot my candlesticks. I used to know them back when I did stocks, but it's been too long. And I have forgotten. Yeah, I guess the morning star might be a long pattern only. But in any case, let me just name this here. And so that's how you would use the threshold solver with your indicators, provided it has an output. So, and if it doesn't have that kind of an output, Gary, then maybe you could just talk to the company that you got it from, and ask them if they could add a hidden plot or a data series, to kind of output when the pattern is found, and they might do that for you. let's see. There we go. Name that like that. All right, guys. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. All right, thanks. Bye-bye, guys.